Okay. Greeting, family. Thank you so much for joining us at the Force Factor. I have this amazing guest tonight, and I am so excited, and I cannot wait to start this interview. I have Jaleel Humphrey, Mr. Jaleel Humphrey from QSC Production, Quill and Script
Yes.
Club. This man is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely. I am so
Oh,
honored
she's
to
so
have you on our
wonderful.
platform tonight. So please tell me a little bit about yourself and please introduce to us QSC Production.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is an honor. We go back. We go back
Yes,
sometime, and
way back.
so I love what you're doing. I'm so proud of
Thank
you, and I'm
you.
so
Thank
happy to be a part
you.
of this process. So thank you so much for having me. Let me go ahead and get into who I am. You already introduced me. My name is Jaleel Humphrey. I was a social worker. I guess I still am a social worker. I've been doing that for the last 30 plus years. I also worked in the transportation industry, and I did that for 12 years. I'm a ghostwriter now. Primarily, I'm a storyteller. I'm an author. Um, and I created QSC Productions because I believe that it was a spiritual calling. I
Mhm.
really believe that it was a spiritual calling.
Wow.
Um, I had something to say to the world, and I
Hmm.
wanted to be able to say it in the most constructive way. And
Hmm.
so I wanted to help the world, excuse me, paint a different picture and to tell a different story than what they're currently living, especially there in the States.
Yes.
Especially there in the States, yeah.
Mhm. Wow. Thank you so much. So you mentioned that you are a ghostwriter. So what exactly do you write? Like, um, for yourself, or how does the ghostwriting operate?
Yeah. So, and thank you for that question. I actually just wrote a book about ghostwriting and the benefits of ghostwriting. And what ghostwriting is all about, it's an opportunity to put other people's words and thoughts on paper.
Mm,
Now, whether they're creating a script for a play or a movie, or whether they're trying to write an autobiography, it doesn't matter what they're trying to write, a fiction, doesn't matter. Um, I take their idea. Of course, we do an interview.
mhm.
And from that idea, I create what I think that they want. Now, we're also communicating along the way. And so they have an opportunity to tell me if I'm on track based on their own thoughts, or if I'm off. And then we go ahead and we create that story based on their idea. When they can't do it for whatever reason, sometimes they're too busy.
Mhm.
Everybody's not a writer.
Yeah.
I have an idea, but I don't know how to get it on paper. I don't know how to write the book, but I have this idea. I'm actually working on something, and that's how she got started. She said it was in a dream.
Oh wow.
She said it was in a dream, yeah. And so she tried to. Sometimes we can't translate from a dream, so it's my job to take that dream and make it make sense to all of you, to all of
Yeah.
us. So that's what ghostwriting is about. And I enjoy writing, right? So I really, really enjoy writing for myself. Of course, I've written books. I've created many, many stories. I've actually just published a novella, and
Oh,
it's a
cool.
5 part series. Yeah, it's a 5 part series. I'm also writing a 6 sentence soap opera. So I do that daily. That's a Monday through Friday thing. And so I post these 6 sentence novellas. Now, there's an opportunity for VIP members of the soap opera to get a different version of that story. So it's more than 6 sentences. It's narrated. It's much more adult. Okay, so it's still the same story, just an adult version of that story. And so that's what I do for my VIPs.
Mhm.
Um, and I just completed 2 nonfictions. I just told you about the ghostwriting book, but I also did a nonfiction book about um, becoming a digital nomad, becoming an expat. So that was
Wow.
very exciting when I did my research for that. Yeah, it's called Digital Nomadism from Cubicle to Cafe. So I'm very proud of that project.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I love
And
it.
and
I like that you
these are
mentioned
not
that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you so much. Those are not big books. The ghostwriting book and the digital nomadism book, they're not big books, right? These are quick reads. These reads are a little more than, ooh, little less than 150 pages. So they're really quick reads,
Mm.
and they're succinct, and they give you the information that you actually need so that you can make an educated decision about how you want to move forward, whether it's becoming a digital nomad, an expat, or if you want to just write your own story. I'll say this one last thing about the ghost writing thing. Um, Ghostwriting can be about legacy as well. So,
Mhm.
we know stories about Martin Luther King. We know stories about Sojourner Truth. We know stories about these people. But how many of our relatives know about our great great grandparents? And so this is an
Mhm.
opportunity for families to tell their own stories when they're thinking about doing an autobiography. My name doesn't go on it. This is hence the term
Yeah.
ghostwriter, right? So my name doesn't go on it, but it's a chance to pass down the family stories, the family legacy, to future generations. Yeah.
Yeah. That I love that because a lot of time people are just thinking, I want to write a book, but I don't have the time
Hmm.
and all this. So I love that. But I also felt the emotion, when you was telling about it. So how do you connect your emotion to your own stories?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I connect my emotions to my stories. Whatever I'm going through in the moment, has a chance to get written on the page at that time, depending on when I'm writing or what I'm writing. It depends
Mhm.
because it, if it doesn't call for that, let's say I'm feeling melancholy because I don't know, maybe I'm missing my boo. I don't know.
Mhm.
But the storyline has nothing to do with that. Well, then I have to check myself. I have to check my emotions at the door. But if it's in line with what I'm about to write,
Mhm.
absolutely it'll go right into the story. I have to check it so that I can tap into wherever I am in the story so that the story doesn't get lost. The story stays focused. The story has direction.
Mm.
So
I
absolutely,
like
yes, my
that.
emotions go in there. Yeah. There has to be a warmth. Pardon me, there has to be a warmth, there has to be a color, if you will, to whatever I'm expressing. I used to go to the store when it was time to pick greeting cards for whatever reason, a holiday, somebody's birthday, or whatever, and
Yeah.
I have a very hard time picking cards because it has to hit me in the right place within my spirit. So
Yeah.
I will look through 100 cards before I pick one. It's the same thing when I'm writing a story. I want it to hit you the way it's hitting me in that certain place, wherever that place is, and because I want it to tug at those same emotions that I'm feeling at that moment. So yeah.
I love that. So I'm very familiar with your publication, of course. We go way back. But I want the viewer to have a knowledge of it. So what are your publication and what type of stories are they? I just want you to go back on it. I know you already mentioned it in the beginning,
Hmm.
but I want you to actually give us like the name of the publication, where can we find them,
Yeah.
what type of stories you are you writing?
Oh yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Oh gosh, where do I start? I should have probably had something. And let me start with back. Let me go back to 2005. I published a book in 2005. It's called Everything But Love, and it's the story of a black gay man who enters into his very first relationship, and at the same time that he's trying to adopt a little boy. And so he
Mhm.
goes through the system to adopt this little boy. What he doesn't realize is that this little boy comes with a litany of emotional challenges that he has to learn to navigate with the little boy. And during these challenges, there's a chance that, and I don't want to give it away, even though it's an old book, it probably doesn't matter. Um, it, During these challenges, he ends up losing something very, very significant to him. Um, and so now he has to navigate. He has to figure out how to get this thing back in his new relationship while he's still trying to be a dad. And does he still want to be a dad? So it's about navigating the social service system. So that's that book. More recently, I did. a book which I'm very proud. I'm proud of all my work, to be honest with you. But yeah, this
You
is
should. They are
a personal
amazing.
a personal story. It's a sense of shame. And
Mhm.
it's a book turned soap opera, by the way. So after I published the whole entire book, I said, no, there's more here. And so I'm going to pull it and make it into a soap opera. So I'm really working
Wow.
on where and how to work on that. But I'll tell you what that book is about. It's about a black gay man who discovers that he has a sexual addiction.
Mm,
He has a sexual addiction. He doesn't know in the beginning that it's a three-part series. He doesn't know he has the sexual addiction. He's just behaving in the way that black gay men behave, and I'm speaking as a black gay man, right? So,
okay.
um, and while indiscriminate sex is prevalent in the community, in the gay community, and in the straight community as well, I think on some level, I believe that at some point, any of us who have um, been guilty of that, at some point we have to, it's beneficial to take a look at our actions and determine whether that's going to help move us forward in life, whatever it is. So because I'm a writer, I wanted to tell that story because I wanted to be able to live through it. It is not an autobiography. It's not autobiography, but there's a lot of truth in that book. There's a lot of truth in that book. I won't say what's
Yeah.
true. Um, and so the character is on this journey to figure himself out, and so I love that he got to do this because I got to relive my story. So that's that
Mm,
book, and then there's Foreplay, which I recently put out, which is the erotica novella series. Now I've never written erotica before, but I was so excited, pardon the pun, so excited about
yeah.
this story because it's about a once successful black man. He's actually straight, who is the owner of Miami's premier.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't want people to think, oh, all he does is he writes about black gay, and I can write
I
anything and
know.
do. Okay, so let me be clear.
Yeah.
Um, and so he was the owner of Miami's premier elite, right, escort service.
Oh, cool.
And he's a young guy. Yeah, he had an escort service. Unfortunately, he was involved in an accident which left him wheelchair bound.
Mhm.
And so, and not only did that work on his self esteem, he actually lost the business. And so, this is a story about how he is pulling himself back up to rebuild that business as a disabled person. So, he's looking and trying to build this through the eyes of a disability at this point.
Mhm.
So, I love this story. Um, because this tugged at my heartstrings. This story tugged at my
Yeah.
heartstrings. Yeah, this story definitely did that. And then of course, I'm doing my six sentence soap opera. This is where I get QSC Productions from because I'm working on so many things. So I am working on ghostwriting as well. And then I have my six sentence soap opera, which I post Monday through Fridays. And I talked
Mhm.
just a few minutes ago about the VIP. I have several different characters, and this is also an opportunity for people to get written into the story.
Mm.
So when
Okay.
people write into the story, I meet with people and we create a character. I present this character to them, an actual image of the character based on what they've told me and the physical attributes of this character, personality of the character, and I weave that character into the story. So they have a chance once, twice a week to see this character um, intertwine and develop with other characters. So that's what I'm doing as
Okay.
far as that's concerned. Yeah.
I love that. And I'm absolutely familiar with it because
Yes.
so I'm gonna I have a character in your book that you allow your VIP client to I mean your VIP how are we gonna call a fan to have a chance to be
VIP members.
included
Yes.
in your
Yes.
stories. And I
Yes.
love my character is Munira. And Munira was like
Yes.
it was so fun creating her with you to begin with
Yeah.
because we was just going through it, and I love it because he was almost like my alter ego. I was creating
Yes.
somebody that I probably always wanted to be, but I couldn't. But at the same time, I had no idea what Munira would be going through. I have
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
idea what doing and things like that. So every week I'm so excited to see Munira
Yeah.
show up. and doing something that surprises me
Yeah.
and keep me excited with this. I love it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Thank
it's
you.
like like your it's called The Young and the Reckless.
The Young and the
Um,
Reckless. Yes, absolutely. I don't want
yeah,
people to get it confused with the original Young and the Restless. This is The Young and the Reckless.
the
And by the
Reckless.
way, I don't want people to think if they are interested in becoming a character, I don't want people to think that their character has to be young. Their character does not have to be young. Do you want to tell them how old your character is?
Munira, yeah, she's in the 50s,
Yeah,
early
Munir.
50s.
She's in her early 50s. And so I created a whole storyline. And the idea is that the person doesn't know how their character is going to be weaved into the story. They've just given me characteristics, they've given me personality traits, and then I take it from there.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Hmm.
exactly what you do. And you're doing
Yeah.
an amazing job. I mean, I
Thank
love
you.
Munira. Like, I was so excited to see her literally like in person. I want to say that in person because I was about to
Yes.
see the character that I described, how I wanted her hair, her skin color, her height, her
Yes.
body shape, her,
Yes.
her personality. But I
Yeah.
didn't know what she would be doing with Wu, where she would be going, and I just love that. It's just
Yeah.
I
Some of
feel
the things
like
that's
it's
going
so
on in
unique.
her head, some it's like, wait, girl, why are you thinking that? Why are you doing that?
And
Yeah,
I
it's
love to
actually
see her.
fun.
I'm
Yeah.
like, Munira, girl, come on, get it
Right.
together. Sometimes Munira is just surprising. Well, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say everything. If you're gonna know about Munira, my character, and other character, you want to have your own character. Well, you're gonna reach out to Jaleel because he got you.
Right.
It will create your own
Yeah.
character, but mine, you gotta join the VIP list so you
Yeah.
could know what we're doing over there. Munira
Yeah.
is I'm not gonna tell you
And
more.
it's
Just find out.
yes. And it's going to get much more risque. I'm
Mhm.
always
Mm.
changing QSC Productions. I'm always, always, always making changes to QSC Productions, and so I have
Mhm.
a bigger presence over on TikTok. So there's going to be a lot more of me on TikTok moving forward, and so people are going to be able to see a lot more about where the story is going to go as far as the soap opera is concerned. And by the way, why is it 6 sentences? There's a whole story about that, and I'll see if I can give it to you really, really quickly.
Mhm.
It's six
Oh, no
sentences.
problem. Mhm.
It's 6 sentences because it's quick, it's easy, and people are living quicker lives than they used to. Back in 2012, Back in 2012, I was in a training to work for a cruise line. And we were sitting in the training class and we were all trying to stop ourselves from falling asleep. So, one of the ways I discovered to stop myself from falling asleep is I would write these sentences, and it started out as 5 sentences. And so I would do this every day to entertain myself while paying attention to what was going on inside the classroom. And my neighbor who sat next to me, he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm writing stories." And he said, "Can I read it?" And I would have him read the stories. Before you know it, my whole row and the row behind me were reading my stories, and then he started writing. So me and him would write these stories and pass them to each other. And then
Oh,
fast forward years later,
wow.
I said, I want to do something with this. It was quick, it was easy, it was just to get enough to get people's attention and to leave them with a cliffhanger. Wait, what's going to happen? Wait, why did it stop there? It's supposed to be very quick. So that's why I did 6 sentences.
I love it. I love it. That was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So I have like this other thing. So, and as a author, how do you have like a specific process in your writing? Like, do you have like a day you write it? You write only at night? Do you need a cigar before you write? We just want to know, how do you are you in your robe when you write? What's going
you
on with that?
know,
How
you
do
know,
you
I,
do that?
when you asked that question, the first thought I had was of what is the movie with oh my God, I really can't think of it now. The movie with Kathy Bates, and she played the woman in the Misery. Misery. Oh my
Mhm.
God. This is old age talking, y'all. So in Misery,
Uh-huh.
he would always go up to a cabin and he would write and he would finish the book and then he would have a cigarette and he would have a glass of wine and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So no, I don't have I don't have a ritual. I don't think I have a ritual. But
Okay.
if my best friend were here, he would probably say,
Mhm.
actually, you do. So let me just say this. I make
Mhm.
it a point to get in front of my computer every single day.
Mm.
And sometimes I don't know where I'm going with my story because I don't use an outline. But
Okay.
what is important is that I get my fingers on the keyboard and that
Mhm.
I let my fingers, you remember, I don't know if you remember the commercial, let your fingers do the walking through the yellow pages. Well, I let my fingers do the typing. And sometimes I have no idea where my fingers are going to go until the first two
Yeah.
sentences are out. And then when the first two sentences are out, or something like that, I say, okay, I remember, blah, blah, blah. So and so was doing this. Okay, yeah. And then I start running with it. So, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's a ritual. I don't know. But every
So
day I
the
have to get in front of my computer every day.
Every day. Wow,
I
this
have to
is this
write
is
some
a
story.
pretty
Yeah.
good discipline. That's a very good discipline because I think that's what people are lacking, like to be able to create that consistency and you're actually doing it. But then I also so in your introduction also you mentioned that you were also like organizer. I believe we mentioned something about the international cruise or something like that. So while you mentioned a little bit about this, I also want to know when do you find time to be so like a I would say travel organizer.
Yes, I am doing. I'm doing a few other things as well. But yes,
Mhm.
I also write reports for an organization. This is
Mm.
all part of social work. Like I said, I'm still a social worker, so I write reports for a social service organization. So I still do that as well. And yes, I have dipped my toes back into travel because I've been out of travel. Actually, it's only been a few months. I took 2 years off of travel for a while, but then I
Okay.
got back into it. So now I'm back in travel, but I'm working on creating international cruises for groups, international group cruises. So you're going to see a whole lot more about international group cruises. Cruises. You asked me about my time. I'm really, really good at time management.
Mm.
Really, really good at time management because time management for me, healthy mind, healthy heart. I have to have time for my spiritual study. I have to have time for my workouts, right? Because I can't just
Yeah.
stay here stuck in the house. So I have to have time to write and do what I need to do. So I get. Sometimes I'll have to write it down. Most times I don't have to write it down what I have to do unless I want to be sure. So um yeah, I'm just really good with time management. And so I make sure I get it all done. If there's a deadline, I'm going to make sure I meet that deadline.
I
Absolutely.
love that you talk about time management because I do the same thing. I feel like this is a pretty good skill to have. Like I like to write everything, that I will be doing for the day so I can stick with my calendar. So as we talking about it too, like what advice, can you give to aspiring authors like you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I'm sure I'm going to be asked that quite a bit. Here's what I have to say: find your niche.
Mm.
Find your niche. Find the thing that you want to do,
Mhm.
regardless of whatever you want to write about as an author, as a writer. What is it that you want to write about? I have to write what I'm passionate about.
Mm.
And when you find that voice, find your voice and make it big and then make it bigger and then never stop. Just keep making it bigger. The universe, there's no cap. There's no cap. Just continue to let it grow. I said a little while ago that I'm constantly reinventing QSC Productions. I love doing that. And sometimes I'll say to myself, well, why didn't I think about that before? Let me start doing this.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So
love
when I
that.
discovered that I could write people into the story, I loved when I came up with that idea.
Mhm.
One of the questions I ask people when they're creating their characters, and this was a development. I had to sit in there, I had to ask the question because initially I didn't ask the question. How do you feel about your character having sex?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
my sex scenes are going to get really graphic in the soap opera. They're already graphic in the erotica series, right? But in the soap opera, How do you feel about your character being naked and being touched? Like, and everybody might not
Okay.
be okay with it, but I wanted them to know because I want them to see themselves in their characters. This is their creation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do they envision themselves as a sexual being?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, taking it another step, making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's the advice that I would give to someone who is getting into writing.
I love that. I definitely would take that advice myself. So, as we're talking about, what challenges have you encountered so far, or what challenges are you afraid to encounter?
One of the biggest challenges is actually getting eyes on your product.
Mm,
Um, but what I love about that as a challenge is that I'm constantly reinventing myself, like I just said. It forces me to reinvent myself. It forces me not to be okay with mediocrity. It
mm-hmm,
forces
mm,
me to be better, bigger,
better.
right?
Mm,
And so that's what I love about that. Um, you don't want this. I don't want the same old story told, right?
mm,
Um, so I have to tap into what I have for the reader.
mm-hmm.
And so there's the challenge right there, just making sure that I get enough eyes on what I'm doing because what I'm doing is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not saying that from an egotistical place. I'm saying that from the perspective of telling a different story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that from a perspective of bits and pieces of me being in that story and bits and pieces of whomever I'm telling the story about. I'm telling the story from the perspective of a black gay man telling a straight story, telling a gay story, telling a white story. I love digging really deep into. Remember, I talked a little while ago about the warmth and the color
Yes.
of what I'm writing. And when I go back and I read what I've written, and what I try to put some distance when I finish a product, I try to put a little bit of distance between it so that I'm trying to see this as objectively as possible. And I go back and I read it. I was in tears literally when I read Foreplay. I was in
Oh,
tears because it, the only thing I can liken it to, and you'll have to excuse me here because I don't want to offend anybody.
no problem.
And I know that women are very personal about this, but the only thing I can base this on, and I remember the stories my mother used to tell us about when she gave birth to us.
Mm,
And we were all. This was all natural childbirth, right? So there was the pain of it, and she talks about how many hours and she was in labor, and so on and so forth. And then when we were born, and she was holding us, she said, "I forgot all about that
yes.
because you're concentrating on the beauty in your arms."
Yep.
And the only thing I can say, and again, I don't know that that's true. I'm a guy. I can't give birth. Um, when I gave birth to my stories, and I went back and I looked at my story, sort of holding my own story in my arms,
Oh,
and I read it. I'm getting emotional now. I
yeah.
fell in love. I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with my characters. I fell in love, and I was literally in tears.
Yeah.
Literally in tears. Yeah,
I can relate to that. I definitely
yeah,
can. I really can because the process is so hard and like a lot of discipline, like there's a lot of things that we cannot do because you have to keep doing it. Like for me, if I have to do 7 p.m. on my computer, I have to do those things because if I skip a day, then it's hard because it's an excuse to skip another day and this and that. So it makes us miss on certain things. You may have friends
yeah,
that want to talk to you, you may have things, but you have to stay very focused and very disciplined.
yeah,
So by the time you get your product, it's like all this hard labor is like finally in your hand in the physical form and is a finished product and you just so proud of it and
yeah.
it makes you feel like okay it was worth my struggle
Yes,
and it's
absolutely.
a big
I can't.
accomplishment.
Absolutely. I cannot allow my sexy excuses to get
Mm-hmm,
me out of doing this thing that I love doing.
mm-hmm.
Writing for me is like having sex. It's supposed to be pleasurable. It's supposed to feel good. It's supposed to touch my nerve endings. It is supposed to do all of that. And so I see writing as that, and so I cannot allow, and it's very easy to, for because we can all just get busy, right? Oh, I have this to do. Oh, I have that to do. No, no, I'm not going to allow sexy excuses to get in the way of this thing that I love doing.
Yeah.
So I
I
welcome
love
the
that.
challenges as well. I welcome the
Yeah.
challenges.
So what keeps you going though?
My spiritual journey
Mm,
keeps me going.
mm,
My best friend, and this is uh, I'm not separating these things. Friends, family, spiritual journey. There is no separation. They're all together. You see.
I love it.
Um, and why? Because in that journey there's love.
Mhm,
In that journey there's drive.
mhm,
And there is a motivational speaker. Her name is Lisa Nichols.
mhm,
And what I love about Lisa Nichols is she says this, right? And this is not a quote. So I'm going to put this in my own words. She said, surround yourself with people who are just as inspired by you as you are by them.
mhm,
Surround yourself with people who are determined and goal seekers. Surround yourself with people who are not afraid of you, who you can share your goals with, and who will challenge you when you try to come up with those sexy reasons not to do and not to reach your goals. These people are not afraid of you and will challenge you. And that's what I have. So that's what keeps me going. My best friend pushes and pushes and pushes. And so he's been wanting me to become an entrepreneur for years.
yeah.
For years, he's been wanting me to become an entrepreneur. And I was like, I'm 60. There's no way I'm doing that. So that's what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Also, they say do what you love, and you'll never
Mhm,
work a day in your life. I have more days behind me than I do in front of me.
mhm,
I don't want to waste it on
mhm.
nonsense.
Yeah.
I want to nonsense and negativity, right? I want to give the world an opportunity to escape.
Mm, yeah.
That's what I'm inspired by. You guys just had an election. I say you guys. Won't get into. I won't get into that whole thing. You guys just had an
we
election, and I
we
saw
we
the
just have an
reaction.
election.
Yeah. And I phrase it that way on purpose, you guys. Um, and I know that people were hurting
Mhm,
from both sides.
mhm,
People need an escape. People were people got depressed, right?
mhm.
And people were scared. People need an escape, and reading has always done that through time. Reading has always because books have always been,
Mhm.
and so if if I continue to do that, then I'm continuing to heal.
Yes.
So that's what keeps me going. The fact that I can create an environment for people that will help them escape. So yeah,
I love that. I love especially the last word that you use about the healing process because for me my writing was like very like a healing process.
yeah,
And reading others, writings are also a part of that therapy that we need. Like we
yes,
need to escape reality from time to time so we can
yes,
recharge our batteries and come back to reality and keep fighting.
that's it,
So we need
that's
that
it.
because not all the time we can afford a trip, hotel, a resort, a vacation, an airplane, and go somewhere else. So by reading, your mind invades the reality, and then you get a chance to
Yeah,
reset.
yes, yes,
You just get a little bit of whatever the story is, it gets you off, give you a break, and then you
yes,
come back a little bit ready with different.
yes.
Sometimes ideas are open minded, but thinking about like traveling and stuff like that, you just wrote a book actually about moving abroad.
Yes,
So
I
I would like
did.
for you to tell me more about it.
Yes, absolutely. I have every intention of moving abroad,
Mhm,
and I love the idea. So I've done a lot of research on this topic. I've spoken to people on this topic, and I love the idea, particularly now, because it's available. because it's available. I don't know how people did this expat, this digital nomadism thing. I don't know how they did this years and years and years ago, but they did. It's not new. I want people to know how to do it easier. And so we talked about the travel thing a few minutes ago. I love traveling. In particular, I love cruising, but that's not the only way that I travel. And so when I travel, as I was traveling, I got to see people who actually picked up and left their countries, whether it's the UK, whether it's Australia, whether it's the US. They left their countries and they given me all their reasons why they left. And then from there, they've set up shop in the Philippines. They've set up shop in Thailand. They set up shop in Albania, right? That's the new place where people are going. And so, yeah, I decided I wanted to write a book about it because I want people to know that no one is stuck.
Mm.
No one is stuck. We don't have to be there. And I heard, back in 2016, was it, when certain people ran for office, I remember hearing the murmurings of people saying, if so and so wins, I'm out of here. I'm moving to Canada.
Yep.
And when so and so won, people were sitting right there, including
Yep.
myself, and didn't know what I wanted to do. Didn't know
Mm.
what I wanted to do, but I know that it's possible. And so I take quite a few trips to the Philippines in particular. I'm in a relationship in the Philippines, so I've taken quite a few trips over to the Philippines. So it is inevitable that it will happen. And so I wanted to put it in a book, how to make this happen. What do you want to look for? What are the important things to look for? I know that as Americans, we think differently about developing countries. We think differently, right? I think that they Americans think on some level, especially those who do not travel, they think that they live in grass huts,
Yes.
and that they use spears to catch their food, and it's it's not true.
Yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, what happens if you get sick, right? What happens if you get sick? They don't even have doctors. They have, people, mixing stuff up in a pot, trying to give it to you
Mhm.
when you need your appendix taken out. Listen, that is so not true. And I wanted people to get the truth. So the book is
Yes.
called Digital Nomadism from Cubicle to Cafe.
Mhm.
I sat in these cafes and I spoke to these people and I gathered this information. I went to some of the sources that they've given me to go to so that they can make their life what it is in this particular country. And I know that it's possible. So I decided to make a book about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a product of it. Like I moved from Africa all the way to America, and again
Yes.
for but better opportunity. So, but
Yes.
again, because I know life, I travel a lot around the world, and I know
Yes.
what's going on there. And at
Yes.
this time, I know that America is not really the best place to be. It's better places, and I
Come
know a
on.
lot of
Come
African
on.
American, even white American, they just start to move away, like you said, even in Africa, in Ghana, for example, in the Philippines and Malaysia, like in different countries in the world, Americans are leaving, and they life gets so much better. So I am definitely onto your book as well because I'm also looking into different horizon, and I
Yes.
did the move, but I had no kids when I was moving
Yes.
here,
Right.
so now it's
Right.
different. I have a lot of baggage to carry, but
Yeah.
I'm still open to the possibility because I understand that sometimes you have to leave your place and then you have to move to a different place, and it works out. Like I'm here, I did very good. But now that I'm a US citizen, I'm also going through the reality of being a US citizen, and as knowing that
Yeah.
is a easier life out there. And like you said, I
Mhm.
know that if I go to the Philippines, of course it's a hospital. I know that of course is a swimming pool. Of course it's
Yeah.
a police, station over there. I'm not going in the
Right.
jungle fight with the snake
Right.
and the elephants. So I'm
Right.
familiar with it. But at the same time, to me, is people like you said need to understand they're not stuck. I know I'm not stuck. I know that if I want to get out of here, I can get out of here. And you also hook me up in different groups, like Facebook have different expat group that you can connect
That's
with.
right.
and then
That's
you
right.
can have a night, you can have a community. You're not gonna be by
That's right.
yourself. Those people already
You're
did it.
not by yourself.
Yeah.
You're not by
So
yourself,
I
and
love
people have to
that.
get that out of their heads. I
Yeah.
didn't realize the number
Mm-hmm.
of people who are living outside of the United States.
Mm,
I didn't know the number of people who are leaving their first world environment
mm.
and living in these other countries, including Ghana. And
Yeah.
when one begins to do their research on these different places, they'll see how developed they actually are.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
hundreds of thousands of people living
Mm,
outside of the Americans in particular,
yep.
right? Who are living outside of the United States. Hundreds of thousands. Some of them have renounced their U.S. citizenship. I'm not suggesting that. I'm
Yeah.
suggesting that if you want to see the world, there are several different ways to do it. And I
Yep.
note those ways inside that book. There's several different ways to do it.
Yeah. Definitely
Um,
for my kids, I really want them to just go and explore the world. I want even go
yes,
for a year, go for 2 years, just check it out, go for 6 months, because it opens your mind into the
that's right.
possibilities. The possibilities is so enormous. Like every country have their own system and things like that. But
Yeah.
once you follow the system, you will see that because America already give us a pretty strong foundation, we can actually soar everywhere we go,
Yes.
because this is
Absolutely.
the hardest part, but at the same time we have a lot of skill for being in America. We know so much, like if we go in any country in the world, we can do something that is needed. You can teach English, you can, whatever skill you're doing here, you can dabble
Absolutely.
it over there, and you could still like, and I mean it's so much, but the cost of living at least give you a chance to live your life instead of have 2 3 jobs over
And
here
breathe.
to go
Yes.
to your closet every day and sleep in there. You can have a nice house. You can have a timeout, sit there for 31 hour, 5 hour. You know what weekends means and things like that, which is was the hardest part for me when I moved here,
Yeah.
because night was my time to work, weekend was my time to work, Monday to Friday was my, I didn't know my birthday I was working. But before that, where I'm from, you don't work on your birthday, you celebrate, you have a chance to have a
Yeah.
party, you could go every weekend out, you every
Yeah.
weekend to the beach, having a good time.
Mhm.
But here you cannot afford a good time, you have to work because you have bills to pay, and this is not a good quality of life. Yeah, people need to
At
understand
all.
that. It gets to a
People
point
have to
now you want the
understand that.
quality of life. So that's why a lot of retired people go, because they realize, and when they retire, then the money never take them anywhere. A
That's
lot of
right.
people never finish to pay off their mortgage and they're retired. So how are you gonna afford it if you couldn't afford it when you was working? But yet you could go to another country, have the same house for 10% of the cost,
That's
live a
right.
better life for
That's
like
right.
50% of the
That's
cost,
right.
and your
That's
retirement
right.
money really take you far. Like a lot of young people now, they can work from home, they can move to those countries. They have
Yeah.
great Wi-Fi internet. And all this
Yeah.
is in your book.
Yes, they
That's
do.
why I like, people need to read this book. Just open your mind to it. Give it to your
That's
young
right.
kids, your college student, your grandparent, your retired parent, yourself. We all have to read this book and get familiar with what is outside of the United States.
That's right.
Is
Because
another type
life
of life
exists.
quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Life
Yeah.
exists outside of the United States. And it's important that we see how other people live and how happy they are. And in
Yes,
some of these countries where we're saying they don't have this and they don't have that, but they do have happiness. They do have
definitely.
love. They're not walking around and all the things that we see in the news in the U.S. And by the way, I'm not putting the U.S. down. Listen, I was born and raised there, right? So I'm
Yeah,
very
of course.
grateful
Yeah.
for the
I moved
opportunities
here.
that I had. I don't,
Yeah.
right? I'm not putting it down. I'm simply saying that there is another way of life. I found myself scared. I don't want to live a life being scared, and so I had to go where there was peace
Yes.
inside, which is where I went first, my spiritual journey. I went inside to find my peace, inside to find my answers, and my answers said, go abroad. And so I ended up finding a relationship abroad, and my
Hmm.
intention is to move abroad. Absolutely.
Yeah. I totally
Absolutely.
encourage your journey, and I cannot wait to, go visit you, and probably I'll be your neighbor. because
Yes,
I am for
yes,
better quality of life. Like you say, as we are
that's
getting
right.
older,
Yes,
it's ringing more in my ears. Like I'm like, okay, I'm
yeah,
not gonna keep working so hard. I need to be able to have my little barbecue at 4 p.m. every day. I'm a person of habit, so it's
that
very
part.
hard for
Yes,
me when I have to
yes.
follow a schedule and can't really enjoy my life. So but Julia, yeah, I know I took a lot of your time, and I know
No,
you have a
please.
lot
It
of
was
work
my
to
it was
do.
my pleasure. I'm getting ready to do something else. I'm getting ready to start doing live
Okay.
on Facebook or TikTok. I don't know yet. After I got put in Facebook jail, I'm a little salty with
Well,
Facebook
TikTok
right
love
now.
you. You should try TikTok
Uh,
first. TikTok love you.
yeah. So I'm gonna start doing weekly lives.
Okay,
So that's the new thing that's coming up for me.
I like
And
that.
also, I'm always experimenting with how to tell my story. So I'm
Mm.
going to be putting Foreplay, I'm going to be making Foreplay an audiobook.
Oh
That's the other thing that's
wow,
coming up for me. And I'm
perfect.
also trying, it's so not easy, trying to animate
Mm.
my stories, my soap opera.
Oh
I'm trying to
wow,
animate my
I
soap
cannot
opera.
wait to see that.
It is. I'm no artist. I'm no.
Mm.
I can't draw. So
Mm.
I have to. I couldn't do it that way. But we do have AI out here now, and so I'm
Good.
exploring some ways of doing it. So there's some challenges with it. I don't know how far away it is, but that is the next step for me
It's
as well.
upcoming, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
knowing you, I
Yeah.
know it's coming. It's coming
Yeah.
because
It's gonna
you're a
come.
man of doing it. You're not
That's right.
talking too much. You're making
No.
it happen.
No.
And
I
I
don't just
love that
talk. I
about
do.
you. Yeah, and that
Thank
would
you, my
be like,
love.
my takeout for tonight. Like, like you say, you find time to do what you want to do, what you need to do.
Yeah.
So it's no excuse. But then again, life is what it is. Sometimes it's not because people don't have time, people don't know how to do it. You will help, in every possible needs that somebody want to, like, okay, you want to move abroad, I got you. You want to evade
Yeah.
yourself in your mind, I got you. You want to be a part of one of my character, I got you. Like, I love that about you.
Yes.
You want to tell your story, you don't know how to write, I will write it for you. You want to write, you want me to
Yes.
fix whatever, I help you too. So I just love that you have so much services in your company. QSC
Thank you.
Production offers so much, and I just love that you actually give life,
Thank
and
you.
I'm just saying that because we're going through a stressful time,
Yes.
nowadays, and reading your stories, it always make me laugh, but the way you cut it before we wait for the next one, I'm like, this is gonna stress me the heck out. What's the rest of the story? And I gotta wait again before I find out, but I'm always
Yes.
excited to read it, and I love like how I can picture, the way you describe a place, and and almost
Yeah.
like I'm there. I can see, it's like I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
And you are
Yeah.
such a great writer. I mean, you are
Thank
you are
you.
unique, authentic, and so gifted and talented.
Thank
And
you.
as
Thank
you
you.
are such an inspiration for me. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
what you do. And
Thank you. You're
and
so
I love
dear.
it. Like you said, you're not only focused on on giving. Everybody got a chance. Munira is not gay
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
But
Right.
I love how
Everybody
you
has an
put
opportunity. Yes.
exactly. You treat everybody fairly.
Yes.
In your story, everybody got a chance to be there. It's like a real word. Basically, that's
Yes.
exactly what it
Yes.
is. Everybody's in there,
Yes.
white, black, gay,
That's
not
right.
gay, whatever. But you haven't do
Yes.
what's that? The people that have two partner when they're coming in.
When they come in with two partners,
Yeah,
thruple.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
see them too.
Listen, I write
They
about
model
everything.
too.
Yes. I write about everything. I certainly do, and I absolutely love what I do. Now, if people want to get in touch with me, I think
Yes.
they can get in touch with me on Facebook. They can look for me, just look for Jaleel Humphrey on Facebook. So they can do that. They can also email me at queersoapsclub at gmail.com. Queer Soaps Club, all one word, Soaps is plural. So QUERSOAPS CLUB@gmail.com. They can reach out to me there. If they have a story that they want to tell, they don't know how to do it, we can do a consultation. If they want to be a part of The Young and the Reckless, absolutely.
Good.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna
They can
post
reach out to me.
also, yeah, those information when we
Hmm.
post the video. So people just gonna have to click on the link. And
Hmm.
also, if you have any problem to reach it to the Jaleel, you can reach out to me as well. But it's very responsive, very responsive. So you will
Yeah.
receive an answer from him. That's a
Yes,
guarantee.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jaleel, very much appreciate you tonight. It's such an
Thank you
honor
for
to have you
having
on my
me.
platform.
I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I don't take these things for granted at all. You've given me a
Yes.
voice. You are absolutely wonderful. I
Thank
think that you are
you.
one of the most gentle spirits out here, one of the brightest minds out here, one of the most innovative people that I've seen. And we've known each other for years, right? This is a
Yeah.
new journey for us, right? Both. This is a new journey
Yes.
for us both. But we've known each other for years. And ever since I've known you, you've been an entrepreneur, you've been an innovative person, you've been a
Thank
creator.
you.
And I love that about you. And part of my inspiration, believe this or not, has come from you. I watched you build
Oh,
from nothing. I have
thank
watched you
you.
build and lose and build again. So
Yes.
part of my inspiration, yes, I talked earlier about my best friend and my family. I don't take them for granted. But let me also give me my flowers while I yet live. So I'm giving you your flowers.
Thank
You are a
you.
wonderful inspiration, and yes, you have inspired me. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Leah. I had this makeup on. I don't want to cry. I'm gonna be crying. I've been so sensitive. Thank you so much. And I'm
Thank
telling
you, my
you,
dear.
I love how you're a very, very honest person. I always like that about you. You are a real person. You are,
Thank
like
you.
I say, you authentic. You just are the few people, that we can actually count on. You are yourself.
Thank
You are
you.
not playing a game. You are not faking anybody. You are just yourself. And I think that's why the first time I even met you, I was very attracted to you as a person because I could
Yes,
feel, the
we
genuine
clicked
part of
immediately.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. You
yeah,
say what you got to say, and then you
yeah,
say it, and there's nothing behind it. You just right there. I'm here, and I'm here, and I
yeah.
love people like that because we tired of backstabbing and all kind of drama. So you
I
are
don't want to live
amazing.
like that. Thank
Yes,
you, my
and
dear.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
pray for everything to,
Thank
actually,
you.
go to I would say the sky is not the limit. Let's put it that way.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yes.
right.
And
That's right.
hopefully our
No
next
limit.
interview will be in the Philippines together. Because
Yes.
I want to see you again next year. Like I want to give you a couple months to build something, and I would love to have you
We're
back
gonna make it
to
happen.
update us on something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
we're gonna make it
so
happen.
much, Jaleel.
Thank you,
I
my
love
dear.
you very, very
I love
much.
you too. I love you.
Thank you. I wish you a wonderful evening and thank you so much for being on the Force Factor tonight. And
Thank you, my
peace,
dear.
love, happiness, and success and prosperity.
Namaste. Namaste. Bye, sweetheart.
Thank you. Love you, babe.
Love you too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.